Esteemed guests, fellow dignitaries and participants of the spring seminar. First of all, thank you for inviting me. It's always great to be back in Vienna. It's been 15 years that I was a Viennese myself for a couple of years. And whenever I come back, I think back of those times when I felt the urge, the push to finish my career internationally and come back to my country, with the first hope in my adult lifetime, when we have overcome the communist government in 2009 and installed the pro-European government, or so we thought. Back then, this was the main reason of me coming back to my country and contributing to the European integration and to what we thought was right, what we felt was the chance of our generation to do something historic for Moldova, and that is to have it integrated into the European Union. Now, of course, in the past years, Moldova has seen a very tumultuous period. So if I am to quickly recap these 15 years, you will see that Moldova is a country that can change and that can change really fast. But first, I mean, building on Mr. Svoboda's remark, yes, Moldova is a Danube country. We have officially 300 meters of Danube, so that counts. We also have a port, so that must count for even more. And of course, given the disparities and given the big differences in the Danube region, Moldova is unfortunately in a region where the quality of life and where the prosperity still needs to catch up. But also, what gives us hope is that the Danube region has been a region that has seen great change in the last decades, and this is inevitable. That is a wave of change that we are embarked on as well. Now, just to give you a few examples of how fast Moldova can change, if I zoom in a bit in the region, towards my country, 15 years ago, Moldova was country ruled by pro-Russian communist government. We were trading 70% with Russia and CIS. Our foreign trade was oriented towards Russia and CIS in the proportion of 70%, and this is how our economy would look back then. Now, only 15 years later, and I would like to underline only 15 years, for a country it's nothing. Our trade is predominantly over 70% with the West. 65% of our trade, of our exports, go towards the European Union. And now, if you add EFTA countries, if you add the United Kingdom, if you add North America, it adds up to much more than 70%. And this is a massive shift. It's a huge tectonic transformation of a small economy in only 15 years. And there is. I did try to look for a similar example. I did not find a country that could reorient its economy so fast in such a short period of time. Whereas trade with Russia has been declining steadily. In 2023, trade with Russia was at around 3% of the total, which is, let's say, not as difficult to imagine. Now, 15 years ago, we were calling traditional markets Russia and CIS. We still see every now and then these slippages, but we should scrap this syntagm and use the traditional markets as the European Union and the Western market. And this, of course, this transformation did not come without its challenges. Moldova has navigated through turbulent geopolitical waters, overcoming barriers and uncertainties to forge stronger ties with the European partners. Our dedication to modernization and adherence to European standards have propelled us forward, and this is what is giving us the energy. And paradoxically, once I'm comparing these two periods and these two countries, because Moldova is a different country right now, some of the greatest challenges we faced has ultimately catalyzed our economic transformation. With multiple embargoes from the Russian Federation, and I personally counted at least 8 of them from 2006 to the 2020s. Russia was imposing embargoes on wine, on fruits, on even on furniture, appliances. So anything that could hurt, and that was happening every time Moldova was making a decision that was not favored in Moscow. Now, with every such challenge, we have also found the energy, and we have found the resilience to learn from them, to move forward, and to not look back, because this is the only way that we could navigate. Of course, from the European Union, there were always the incentives that would further integrate us into the EU. That was the deep and comprehensive free trade agreement and the association agreement that we signed 10 years ago. That was a huge chance for our economy and a huge chance for each and every entrepreneur. And that is why now we have over 65%, I will repeat, of exports oriented towards the European Union. Now, of course, the big loser 15 years ago, and then the big winner now is, for example, the wine industry. To give you just one example, it was hit hard. It was hit, to an extent where some of the players could not resist. This is true. But at the same time, those who have learned, those who wanted to keep moving, have reinvented themselves, have boosted and have rethought their ways of operating, have looked for new markets, and now the biggest winery, the biggest wine company in the Southeastern Europe is actually from Moldova. It's a small, it comes from a small village in the southeast of Moldova, actually just a few kilometers from the border with Ukraine. And this is what the lesson can be for each and every one of them. It's a very good asset on the Bucharest Stock Exchange, and despite of the war, despite of the uncertainties and its location too close to the border, it has seen big appreciation on its valuing even during these tumultuous times. Now, of course, we also saw other sectors growing, and if my prime minister was here, he would definitely make the parallel about Moldova being the California of Europe, which he loves a lot, because besides the wine, which is, they're drawing the parallel to the Napa Valley, we also have the Silicon Valley, and that's the IT that has been seeing very strong and very steady growth year after year, with 7-10% growth in annual growth over the last decade. It's now 7% of our GDP, and it's employing only about 20,000 engineers. Although per capita we have by far the biggest amount of engineers, even in front of Estonia. So this is a great asset that we are intending to keep developing. And we've mentioned, previous speakers have mentioned energy. Just 2 years ago, Moldova was 100% dependent on the Russian gas for heating its houses and for fueling its industry, and we were also almost 90% depending on the Russian gas with the electricity that was deriving also from Gazprom that was fueling the electricity market. Now it's not the case. It's the second winter that we have successfully overcome and survived without the relationship, without the commercial relationship with Gazprom, buying energy on the free market, and we will continue to do so. And this is amidst challenges and amidst the war in Ukraine, and with high inflation and so on. 5 years ago, Moldova was a country that was, if you were following any of the developments, it was a country that was slowly but steadily slipping into authoritarianism, with oligarchic government slowly turning the tides and tightening the screws. I was myself in the street back then protesting for, well, multiple times for at least 3 years with on and offs, and we have succeeded to defend democracy. We have succeeded to protect Moldova's freedom and Moldova's path towards the European integration. Now Moldova is, for example, is a free European leaning country. We have succeeded to become a candidate country, which means we were never this close to Europe, and we will continue to advance as fast as possible because there is no time to waste. It's now more clear than ever what the alternatives for each and every citizen of Moldova are. If they look east and if they look west, there are, the differences are as clear as they ever could be. Now Moldova is, for example, just to give you a few examples, we are in the Reporters Without Borders last ranking for World Press Freedom. We are number 33 in the world, which puts us in a very good light, and corruption has never been this uncomfortable in Moldova. We are at an all-time low in corruption perception index when it comes to Transparency International's corruption perception index. Of course, there is still much work to do ahead, and there are still challenges in the justice, but the fact is that the country is moving in the right direction, and we will keep this momentum in these crucial times. And these stories of transformation and resilience and innovation exemplify that Moldova's spirit and the potential of the Danube region as a whole, because we are part of a region that is changing and is changing fast. And we cannot ignore the challenges that we face. The ongoing war in Ukraine that has put Ukraine in under an existential threat due to Russia's illegal and I might say criminal aggression that was totally unprovoked. Of course, Moldova, together with Ukraine, we are facing also economic challenges in this period, because while we are trying to hold the ground and while we're trying to resist, there are challenges that need to be addressed, and the conflict in Ukraine serves as a reminder of the fragility of peace and stability in our neighborhood. And there have been multiple examples and multiple occasions for us all to note in the region. If we look around, I will not give countries, but it's so easy to destroy a democracy that was a fragile democracy that was being built for maybe decades, and it could take you 1 or 2 years. It depends on what government you put in. This is why defending the achievements is important now more than ever. And what we are seeing, of course, is interference. What we're seeing is, while Russia is bombing Ukraine, we are facing and we are coping with multiple hybrid threats in Moldova as well. And they range from disinformation to cyber attacks to using political proxies, all the way to using paid protesters and many other tactics that we are so familiar with, because while the pressure and while the degree of the intensity is unprecedented, it's nothing new really, because Russia has always been trying to do that to Ukraine, to Moldova, to Georgia, and to the Baltics, and to other EU member states. In confronting these challenges, we must draw upon the resilience, determination, and innovative spirit that has propelled us forward in the past. And we should work together, we should learn from each other, and we should know that together we can really overcome these challenges, and no country will be able to resist and will be able to manage these challenges separately and alone. I mentioned about the energy, and I mentioned that Moldova, while being fragile when it comes to energy independence and energy resilience, we have learned a lot from the past 2 years, and maybe something that we should have done long time ago. However, for the first time 2 years ago, we have succeeded to make the first import, actually 3 years ago already, the first import of gas from another seller than Gazprom. For the first time in history, 2 years ago, we have built gas reserves for the winter. For the first time, it's been already, as I mentioned, 2 years that we are surviving winters without gas from Gazprom, and this is symbolic, but also good economics, because while for sure we all remember how Russia was bombing the energy infrastructure in Ukraine in the winter of 2022-2023, Moldova was heavily affected by this crisis. Us being interconnected with the grids, it has affected us. It has caused multiple blackouts, and we had to move fast in order to also protect our economy. I'll just give you one small example, and this is how I will navigate you through the, let's say, economic consequences of this war, with one small example of a blackout in December 22, when I think it was my first or second week in office. It lasted for 4 hours, the entire country, because Russia was bombing energy infrastructure in Ukraine. It caused a blackout in entire Moldova. 4 hours, the entire country was in darkness in the middle of the winter. Now, that 4 hours has cost us 0.07% of GDP. That's companies stalling, not making the sales. That's entire factories. That's entire transportation, energy, and many other sectors that simply had lost sales, that simply had lost activity, and this this illustrates really the impact of the entire war in neighboring Moldova, who is, I could say, the least protected. Us being so close to the war and being so interconnected with Ukraine and being so dependent, for example, on the port of Odessa, where that was a major hub for our exports. Now it's the third year that it's gone. It's not available for trade, and that is putting significant pressure on the competitiveness of our goods, because right now Moldova is connected to the outside world via 5 border crossings, small border crossings with Romania. And that, as I said, is putting significant pressure on the entire economy. Entire import and export of the country is depending on these border crossings, plus the transit from Ukraine that we contribute to. That we are an active supporter of and participant in the solidarity lanes. That is a lifeline for the Ukrainian economy, and we will continue to do so. It is putting a pressure on our infrastructure. It is putting a pressure on the on our economy. However, if that is the price that we have to pay, then we have to pay it, because Ukraine is fighting right now and defending Moldova, defending entire Europe from aggression, and this is the least we can do. So while 2022 was a challenging year in terms of the economy, basically, you know, we were seeing good numbers, we were seeing hopeful numbers in the beginning of the year, but 24th of February 2022 happened, and all of this was stuck. Entire economy was simply blocked. Because I shouldn't explain right here in the office of the Austrian Central Bank how important it is for an economy to have investment confidence, and how important it is for each and every individual when they make an investment decision, be it an individual, be it an entrepreneur. They have to know that tomorrow will be okay. They have to know that tomorrow things will be fine. If they don't know it, or if they know that it will not be okay, they will postpone any major financial decision. And this is causing an economy to simply be stuck. This is what we have seen, especially in the year of 22. Combined with high inflation, combined with energy blackmail, and combined with other Russia's threats and hybrid tactics, this has caused the economy to contract by 5%. However, we have seen at the same time unprecedented support and unprecedented encouragement from our friends and partners that has supported Moldova, and that has helped Moldova to really survive economically and to navigate these tumultuous waters, combined with the reform agenda that we have put out in order to also support our existing economy and to support the investors and the local SMEs. This has resulted in let's say a modest growth. However, we have succeeded to avoid recession. In 23, we have seen modest growth of 0.7% of GDP. But what we really did was to put the country on a footing that would bet on the local SMEs, and would bet on investment attraction, on the right kind of investors, in order to support the economy, and in order to ensure the growth that Moldova needs. Because the way I like to say it is that we really cannot afford to grow by, be it 0.7%, be it 2%, it doesn't really matter, because if I see Moldova grow by only 2% over the next decade, it will still be one of the poorest countries in Europe, and we really cannot afford that, and we really cannot afford to think like that and plan like that. We are aiming to secure for Moldova an accelerated growth over the next decade of 8 to 10%, and this is difficult to maintain. We realize that this is a titanic effort to achieve, and we know that it's not wishful thinking. However, we are looking at we simply have no alternative but to have this conversation, permanent conversation inside the society, together with our partners, what we are doing and how we are securing for Moldova this growth that it needs. And now, while I look at the new member states that are not so new anymore, they have seen similar growth rhythm in the period before accession and immediately after, and this is only one of the ways in which we can see Moldova really succeeding. The way it looks now is that well, basically any investor that has decided to come to Moldova now is probably looking at doubling or tripling their money over the next decade. Now, it's not only about European integration. What we're doing is we're significantly, and I could say aggressively, deregulating our economy. Only last year we have removed barriers to doing business worth at least 0.5% of GDP. And this is a very modest estimate, because I like to keep these models very reserved. We have significantly advanced towards digitalizing every piece of the interaction between the government and the entrepreneurs, and the government and the citizens. So just to give you another example, if last year about June we had 38% of public services for entrepreneurs available in digital form, now we have 60% of them, and that's in less than a year. And by the end of the year we will have 75%, and we're looking at all 100%, because this is not only about boosting the economy. If Estonia can save 2% of GDP thanks to digitalization, then anyone can do it. But it's also about further preventing corruption. It's about boosting the productivity of each and every company, be it small entrepreneurs or be it a big business. And it's about transparency, it's about efficiency, and really it's about simply, sending a message that one does not have to be a developed country in order to embrace the opportunities of digitalization, but one country can use digitalization in order to leapfrog, in order to accelerate its growth. What we also did was to, effectively open up the labor market. Right now, starting January this year, foreign citizens of over 47 countries do not need a work permit in order to work in Moldova. For example, as an EU citizen, you come to Moldova as a tourist. You sign an employment contract. It's absolutely legal. And the second day you can start work, after which all the residence permits and all the procedures can be taken care of while your contract with your employer is valid. And we did that in order to attract talent, in order to boost the productivity of our economy by attracting high skilled individuals into the economy. Of course, the big winner here is the IT sector that needs skills, that needs engineers. And to be frank, these 20,000 engineers that we have, we just have no more of them. However, combined with the tax incentives and combined with other incentives that we have put in place, there is a lot of room for the IT sector to still grow. We are aiming by 28 to have 10% of GDP, ICT contributing to 10% of GDP. We believe it is very realistic, because given the current trends. However, it just needs resources. It needs people, which is why we had to do this. Besides this, what we also have is a very attractive tax incentive. So now the IT industry in Moldova has a single tax of 7% on the turnover, full stop. No other taxes applied for employers or employees. So just to give you an example, right now, Moldova's IT sector is comparable to IT output is comparable to Estonia's only 8 years ago, and we are growing and we are catching up. The way I like to say it is that we'll be like Estonia, but with better weather, let's say. because we are much more south than Estonia. Now, about taxation in general, what we did also starting last year was to institute this zero corporate income taxation on retained earnings. So right now, Moldovan SMEs do not pay income tax unless distributed as dividends. So whatever is staying in the company is tax-free, and we did that exactly in order to accelerate the growth of the economy, to accelerate the growth of our companies that need this liquidity, especially in these volatile times when the interest rates are shooting up and when there is no, well, let's face it, the investor confidence in Moldova is still very modest. We need to send such messages. And, you know, simply, I am a very strong supporter of this reform. I was promoting it from the government, from the parliament, and then supporting it in front of my Minister of Finance in the government. But let's think together what we are taxing when we tax the income that is not distributed as dividends, if not job creation and reinvestment, and maybe building up some reserves in case of, I don't know, a war next door or a pandemic, which are all legitimate reasons to spend your profit that is not yet taken out as dividend. And with this reform, Moldova is among the 4 countries that on the continent that has such a model of taxing their companies. And honestly, we have great hopes for this measure. Although it's a long-term one, I'm sure it will provide the results, because there are other models in place that are bearing these results. It's a very pro-startup and pro-SME measure that has shown results in countries like Latvia and like Estonia. Now, just to slowly conclude, because I wouldn't want to bore you too much with the speech that was written to me, but really what we learn and what we see is while it's true that Europe is facing unprecedented challenges and unprecedented pressure from Russia, it is also true that we can learn from it in order to be stronger and to be more cooperative and to be more united. And us being right there, sometimes 300 kilometers until effectively a war zone, it is very reassuring and very it has a calming effect, so to say. It gives hope to see unity that is at some degree unprecedented, and to see such cooperation, and such solidarity, because it is, it's vital for the after all, the mental health of each and every individual that is residing, be it in Ukraine, be it in Moldova, be it anywhere in the Baltics, in Poland, and in the entire Europe. And it is important to continue. It is important to also look at the opportunities that are coming after that. And the opportunities are to enlarge Europe to an unprecedented size. The opportunity is to bring freedom and to bring liberty and democracy, and to make the European integration really irreversible for countries like Ukraine, like Moldova, like Georgia, and that is, as the previous speakers have said before me, that is the best security guarantee for the entire continent, because we see right now how it's more clear than ever, I will repeat, how important it is to make sure that the entire continent is stable and united under a common idea. And just to give, I mean, I'm sorry if I, it's a very personal note, but you know, my wife being Estonian, you could notice that I have a lot of Estonia in my speech. We do have a lot of exchanges about how Estonia and Latvia and Lithuania have succeeded in the 90s and how we did not. And while there are many other reasons, I think my personal most favorite, I would say, or most realistic or more credible is simply the fact that they did not have time to waste. When they obtained their independence in 91, they moved as fast as possible, entrenching themselves, tying themselves to the European Union, tying themselves to everything that was connected to the West in order to never be alone again, which was their slogan really for the entire integration process. Because maybe they felt, maybe they knew, but it came also in combination with Russia being weak and isolated in their internal problems in the 90s. We do not know, have they, for example, lost more time where they would be right now, but I want to also think that after this war, when it ends, it will end on the right terms. It will end with the victory of Ukraine. We will have the same window with Russia that will be humiliated, will be somewhere isolated in their internal struggles, and we will use the same window in order to move as fast as possible, because we should know that Russia will probably be back. We don't know how long it will take, maybe a decade, maybe 15 years, maybe more, maybe less, but it will be back, and it will not give up its pretensions to the Black Sea, all the way to the Danube river basin. But we have to be safe and united by then. So, having said that, thank you very much for your attention.